Police, I've been shot.
You've been shot? Where are you at, ma'am? Tell me where you are, ma'am. Where are you at?
I'm at Calvary Church on
Ma'am,
Rae Road.
Are you near Calvary Church?
I passed it on the left, and I kept straight. I'm 8 months pregnant.
Can you tell what part of your body you're shot on?
My back, my neck.
I fired one shot and 4 more shots. Bam, 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 bam.
That's the voice of Cherica Adams, who was shot 4 times by her supposed boyfriend and friends, just because she was pregnant and didn't want to abort. Hello and welcome to Twisted Crimes. Subscribe and hit the like button for more stories. It was November 16th, a Tuesday in Charlotte, North Carolina. A 911 call was received just before 12:30 a.m. Within 12 minutes of receiving Cherica's 911 call, emergency personnel arrived at the home of Farrell Blaylock, whose driveway on Rae Road Cherica was able to use. She was on that driveway for 12 long minutes while on the phone with the 911 operator.
Do you think you're actually hit by the bullets, or you think glass touched you?
I think bullets.
Okay, how'd this happen?
I was following my baby daddy, Rae Carruth, the football player.
So you think he did it?
He slowed down, and the car pulled up beside me.
And then shot at you?
Yes.
Okay. What's that horn blowing?
Me trying to get attention.
She kept pointing fingers at her baby daddy, Rae Carruth, while speaking to the operator.
The one you said that was with you. Where's he
He was
at?
in the car in front of me, and he slowed down, and somebody pulled up beside me and did this.
And then where'd he go?
He just left.
Okay. Alright, what's his name?
Rae Carruth, he played for the Panthers.
Okay, what's his name?
Rae Carruth.
Rae
Number
Carruth.
89. Please help.
They're coming up Rae Road to where you're at.
They passed the street.
There's nameless there now, please.
They got me.
Cherica was transported to Carolina's medical center, where it was confirmed she had been shot 4 times. At 1:42 a.m., just over an hour after his mother was wounded, her infant was born by emergency cesarean section. Doctors did not expect the infant, named Chancellor Lee Adams, to live. Cherica regained consciousness 7 hours after the birth of her kid and began conversing with police and scribbling notes in response to their questioning. She informed them that Carruth had been driving in front of her and had blocked her path by stopping on the road, at which point another car had opened fire on her. After the shooting, he fled, never to return. When questioned as to whether Carruth was involved, she drew a question mark. She afterwards fell asleep and never awoke. Rae Carruth was a North Carolina Royal. Since he was a child, he desired to be a professional football player. In 1996, he was a first-team All-American with the Colorado Buffaloes, for whom he played all 4 years of collegiate football. He was selected 27th overall by the Carolina Panthers in the first round of the 1997 NFL Draft. With the Panthers, he signed a 4-year, $3.7 million contract that includes a $1.3 million signing bonus. In June of 1998, they discovered that Carruth had met Cherica Adams at a pool party. The gorgeous and vivacious Cherica, who worked in real estate and as an exotic dancer, also attempted acting. According to Carruth, he and Cherica had a sexual relationship with no strings attached in which they hooked up around 5 times. According to him, they never discussed anything significant, never dated, never spoke on the phone for extended periods, and never visited each other's houses. According to Cherica's pals, she always intended to have children and intended to start a family with Carruth. A previous abortion with an ex-boyfriend weighed heavily on her conscience, so when she realized she was pregnant with Carruth, she ruled out an abortion. Carruth felt otherwise. Michelle Wright gave birth to his son while he was a sophomore at the University of Colorado, and he unwillingly paid child support in 1998. Carruth's senior-year girlfriend, Amber Turner, who had gone to North Carolina with him from Colorado, became pregnant. According to Turner, Carruth ordered her to get an abortion, stating that he would not have children with someone he was not going to be with, and threatening to send someone to kill her if she did not comply. He reportedly suggested to Turner that he could arrange for Wright's murder so that he would no longer be required to pay her child support. Turner had the pregnancy terminated. Cherica rejected any suggestion that she terminate her pregnancy and prepared to become a single mother. The investigators' inquiry led them to Michael Kennedy, a local drug dealer whom Carruth had met in a vehicle accessory shop, and Stanley Abraham, Kennedy's best buddy. Kennedy's remarks led them to Van Brett Watkins, a strip club security guard. Watkins had a criminal background, had served time in prison, and claimed to have committed 4 murders, all of which were hits. The law enforcement apprehended Kennedy, Abraham, and Watkins. On the holiday of Thanksgiving, Rae Carruth was arrested. Carruth posted a $3 million bond with the conditions that he could not leave Mecklenburg County and would turn himself in if Cherica or Chancellor Adams died. Cherica Adams died at 12:43 p.m. on December 14, 1999, after nearly a month in a coma. Carruth fled after learning he was facing a first-degree murder allegation. Carruth's mother, concerned for his safety, informed police and the bail bondsman of his location. While Carruth was being arrested in Tennessee, the Carolina Panthers released him from the team and the NFL indefinitely suspended him. The prosecution had a strong case. Michelle Wright, his ex-girlfriend and the mother of his oldest son, Amber Turner, his ex-girlfriend who aborted a pregnancy due to his threats, and a stripper he had also been seeing, all testified against him.
Football hero Rae Carruth drove away and left Cherica Adams and his own son for dead.
Michael Kennedy and Van Brett Watkins proved to be the most explosive witnesses. Watkins, the shooter, testified that he met Carruth through a common friend in 1999 and began performing odd jobs for him. Carruth asked Watkins how much he would charge to beat up Adams and cause her to miscarry roughly 3 weeks after they met.
He didn't stand up. I stood up for mine. I said I did it. I did it because he made me do it. I told him not to do it. For 6 months I avoided him. I didn't go ahead and do it. I couldn't do it. He forced me to do it. He threatened me and the ones I love. I fired 1 shot and 4 more shots. Bam, 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 bam.
According to Watkins, the 2 parties reached an agreement in which Carruth would pay $3,000 in advance for the hit on Cherica and another $3,000 once the work was completed. Watkins said that he did not enjoy the notion of harming or killing a lady, particularly one who was pregnant, yet he persevered with the deadly plan. It was learnt that on the day of the murder, Kennedy, Abraham, and Watkins spent many hours driving around while waiting for Carruth and Cherica to leave the theater and travel to Cherica's residence, as Carruth had told her he intended to spend the night there. Carruth, driving Kennedy's Nissan Maxima, led the way, followed by Cherica in her black BMW and Kennedy in his black BMW. The 3 vehicles continued along Rae Road in the dark until they reached a spot where the road dipped right before McAndrew Drive. Carruth halted his vehicle in front of Cherica's, and Kennedy drew alongside her, essentially surrounding her. Watkins fired 4 times at Cherica with a .38 caliber pistol at that point, wounding her 4 times. Unbeknownst to Kennedy, Abraham, Watkins, or Carruth, Cherica was still alive and profusely bleeding. Kennedy did not want to testify against Carruth, but he later changed his mind.
A hill, and then down in a dip. Then he stopped his car, she stopped behind his, I stopped behind her. Then Watkins told me to pull up beside her car. So I pulled up beside her car, and he started shooting at her car.
After Watkins fired those shots, what, if anything, were you able to hear?
I heard her screaming.
Are you referring to Cherica?
Yes, sir.
Watkins obviously sobbed during his testimony as he described his role in Cherica's death. Prosecutors played Cherica's 911 call and emphasized that she waited 12 agonizing, painful, and terrifying minutes alone in the car, bleeding and fearing for her child, before police and paramedics came. On Tuesday, January 16, 2001, the jury of 7 men and 5 women began deliberations on the 4 charges that the judge had specified. The jury found him guilty of all charges except murder in the 1st degree.
We, the jury, returned the unanimous verdict as follows: that the defendant, Rae Carruth, is guilty of discharging a firearm into occupied property, guilty of using an instrument with intent to destroy an unborn child, guilty of conspiracy to commit murder of Cherica Adams, but not guilty of the 1st-degree murder of Cherica.
He was sentenced to a minimum of 18 years and 11 months and a maximum of 24 years and 4 months in jail. Carruth was subsequently transferred immediately to Raleigh's Central Prison. Carruth's 3 co-defendants, Kennedy, Abraham, and Watkins, all entered into plea bargains, leaving only Carruth to stand trial. Abraham was freed from prison in 2001 after serving a sentence of less than 2 years. Kennedy was freed from prison in 2011 after spending 11 years. Watkins entered a guilty plea to second-degree murder and will be eligible for release in 2046. Carruth was released from prison on October 22, 2018, having been a model inmate and certified barber. Apparently, he resides in Philadelphia. Cherica's mother, Sandra Adams, opted to forgive the 4 men who participated in the heinous plot to murder her daughter. Chancellor Lee Adams, the infant who survived the shooting that killed his mother, experienced irreversible brain damage and cerebral palsy as a result of the blood and oxygen loss he sustained prior to his emergency cesarean delivery. He learned to speak and walk, and he achieved consecutive A's in the educational programs tailored for him. Chancellor will be 21 years old in November of 2020.